to the HTAB YouTube channel. For the second time here, you find me in Rose Street car park in Inverness, in the lift. Last time I was in the one next door, so yeah, I'm spicing it up a little bit. And today you find me, well, like I said, back here, where we're doing another bus adventure today. You see, last time on the channel I went on the 919 service over to Fort William and back, and that was with Scottish CityLink on a Shield buses. What the hell's happening with that? Well, that's an issue. The door's broken. Let's just squeeze out of there and hope it doesn't lock me outside. Anyway, last time I went to Fort William with Shield buses and Scottish CityLink, and I've done CityLink on the channel now, and it was really good. So I thought today, what other big coach companies are there around, other than CityLink, as you can see behind me. And obviously there's other ones in the UK such as National Express, Megabus, and a new big green brand, FLiXBUS. They've arrived here in Scotland, operated by McGill's. They run all the coach services in Scotland using Volvo 9700s and Yutong TC12s. So then, as I stand up here on an empty car park, I will tell you where I'm going today. So I'm going to be trying out FLiXBUS between here in Inverness and Avonmore, one of the outdoor capitals of the UK, similar of that to Fort William. And with that said, my bus is, as I check my imaginary watch there, it's at 10:45 or 10:50. There's an 094 service at 10:45 and at 10:50 there's an 093 service. I think the 094 goes to Edinburgh and the 093 goes to Glasgow. So if I miss one of them, I know they both go to Avonmore. So that is a good sign. I burp there, very professional. Obviously, I'm a human, you know, all humans burp. Anyway, with that said, we'll make our way down the stairs, and I will see you when the bus arrives. And well, it's only going to be a brief video today, just showing you my experience on FLiXBUS, and maybe at the end I'll compare them slightly to CityLink, but well, they do the same routes, mainly in Scotland, but there's just a big demand, so it's a bit of competition, and also we'll see how busy the buses are. Right, I'll see you when my coach arrives. So then, at this stage, just about, well, 5 minutes later from my massive amount of confidence there on the car park, you find me in a bit of a pickle, because the 9:45 service, which was one of my options, was absolutely heaving. And, well, frankly, it wasn't good enough to record on, so I thought, well, there's not many people here for the 9:50 service, that's good. And, well, at this stage, it didn't show up. It just didn't arrive. Another bus arrived, which was, as you can see here, a Yutong GT12 that came in on an 093 from Glasgow. I asked the driver if it went directly back to, well, Glasgow, obviously via Avonmore, but no. So my day was, in fact, well, I say ruined. It wasn't ruined. I did another thing, which you'll see in an upcoming video. Following a similar sort of theme, I ended up going to Avonmore, but with a different operator. So instead, we won't be going to Avonmore today. Instead, we'll be heading all the way down to Perth, which wasn't the plan. In fact, it was filmed on a completely different day altogether on Sunday the 3rd of August 2025. So then, we are now here in August 2025, searching for the UK 094 service between Inverness and Edinburgh, just going directly to the website simply to check there's actually seats available on my service, and luckily there was lots. So, a nice surprise for me as well was it not being a Volvo 9700 or a Yutong GT12. In fact, it was this, a wonderful triaxle Mercedes Tourismo with the blue seats. And I managed, which was very lucky indeed, because the bus was quite quiet, to get the wheelchair seat, where the wheelchair space is. Meaning I got vast amounts of legroom, as you can see here, with lots of room to stretch, and, well, no fear of getting any sort of cramp in one's legs. The seats themselves weren't the most comfortable because, well, most Tourismo seats aren't, and the height of them was just average as well, with my head sticking over the top. They've got the nice sort of cool armrests though, which I like. Look how satisfying this is, just flipping them up and then pulling them back to release them back down. That's cool, I like that on Tourismos. And with that said, as I'd filmed the little segment there about an armrest, very exciting, departure from Inverness was bang on time, which was wonderful. Yep, driver, very efficient man, clearly enjoyed his job, clearly just wanted to get there, and was on time the whole way down to Perth. Here's a little sign then about FLiXBUS's Wi-Fi, which in this instance wasn't working, but there's a guy behind me complaining about that, and I was just sat thinking, well, it's the boss going through the Highlands, so the Wi-Fi's not going to be good. And on this seat, well, there was a USB socket up there for the fact it's a wheelchair seat, and in front there was one just there as well for the wheelchair or disabled user. Embarkation for this service was very easy too. I just had to show my Scott card to the driver, he tapped it on a machine, selected where I was going, and that was it. However, with FLiXBUS on busier services, it is sort of not advised, but it's suggested, strongly suggested, that you book a seat just in case there isn't any seats when you get directly there. For the fact it is a pre-booked service, but you can just turn up and sort of buy a ticket with your NEC card. And I'm not sure about card, like just card payments, but I'm sure I'll leave a link in the description box below to their website so you can read their terms and conditions. This service, in fact, was the 0850 service on Sunday the 3rd of August, like I said, from Inverness, which was getting into Perth Broxden, which is where I was travelling to, at about 11:30. And I can confirm, on arrival, we were dead on time. So, with that said, I'll leave you with a little bit of music, a little bit of, footage from the window here, of the journey down the beautiful, sarcasm included, A9 down towards Perth. Okay, yeah, I can agree some sections are nice, the bits that I filmed, but the majority of it is in trees, and I can understand why some people were asleep on the coach. However, me being me, I can't sleep on any sort of bus, especially not a Mercedes Tourismo with rock hard seats that are not high enough for my 6'2" figure. Right, I hope you enjoy as we make our way south. So then, as we make our way past Avermore, just here on the A9, yeah, this bus doesn't even stop there. So, good luck going there, Henry. Anyway, as we pass there, the section of A9 which we're on is quite boring. Like I said, there's quite a lot of trees, not much scenery, and a lot of just this. Sign after sign, tree after tree, glimpse after glimpse of nice views, and the occasional dual carriageway, meaning for a little bit of overtaking action, which is always fun, especially when you overtake a camper van. Goodbye. Yeah, fairly flying along, some good acceleration these coaches, not very quick off the mark, but once they get going, they feel really fast. For me, coaches, I can tell like what's fast and what's slow between sort of a Volvo, something with a Scania engine, something with a Mercedes engine. They all just feel different. And, well, I'd say the triaxle version of the Tourismo feels not much different to the, well, rigid, well, it's not articulated, the four-wheeled variant of the bus. Anyway, we're now here at, what's the place called? The most cold place on earth, Dalwhinnie, with the beautiful distillery there appearing out of my right window. And at this stage of the A9, I think is possibly my favourite, along the stretch between Inverness and Perth, that is. The bit south of Perth is boring, the bit north of Inverness is exciting. Well, bit. But this bit between Perth and Inverness, for me, is my favourite. It's just a vast expanse of nothingness, and if there wasn't a giant main road through it, you'd be quite remote. It'd be quite quiet, and you'd be in the middle of nowhere. Just think, over the hills to our left is the, well, Angus coast, and to my right, over the hills, is Rannoch Moor and the West Highlands. So it's sort of the spine of Scotland. Okay, yes, not far from each other, like the left and the right of Scotland, because Scotland, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that wide. But just think, you're not far away, really, in the grand scheme of things, from the west and the east. Right, I'll stop rambling, and I'll let you enjoy the wonderful Highland scenery, and I'll catch up with you again once we're in Perth. So then, you now find us here in the beautiful Perth city centre. Well, the actual city centre is nice, but the area around the bus station and railway station has a lot to be desired. So, the entrance to the bus station itself comes off here, which is the St Andrew Street, that's what it's called, and we turn right on to Leonard Street before entering the bus station, which is as dead as it always is, but even more so on a Sunday. The bus station is an absolute time capsule, however. As you can see here, it's a, well, I'd say 70s, 60s building, and it looks like it's not changed since then. It's in a pretty rough area of the city, sorry if you live there, but well, it could do with quite a lot of improvement. It's not very central, the bus station, it's quite out the way, it's quite, well, run down, dare I say, but the services for FLiXBUS do in fact call here, and as you can see, all these people here were in fact getting on the bus. Well, they've got on now, as you can see, and after a quick 12-minute stop, very nice camera work skills from me there. Almost, you couldn't even tell. The people just vanished. Some sort of Doctor Who malarkey. The bus set off bang on time at whatever time it was. About 11:25, was it? Something like that. But you get about 10 minutes there at Perth bus station. And leaving it behind, we go back down St Andrew Street, which is the A989, turning right on to Caledonian Road at the end, before heading down York Place and Glasgow Road as we head over the railway line in a moment. I'll catch up to you once we get to Perth Broxden, which is just a, well, roughly 10-minute drive for the bus as it gets there. And just like that, as if by magic, we're here at the beautiful Perth Broxden Services, which is frankly, well, I'd say it, crap. It's just got a McDonald's and a garage, and it advertises itself as some sort of magic service station. It's just down there. It's just a petrol station, really. There's a hotel, I think. There's, well, a cost cutter, and it's a pretty depressing place to be, dare I say it. Sorry, Perth. But in fact, the actual Perth Broxden on a sunny day, where the coaches and stuff go, it's a big park and ride, is quite busy. As you can see, all the spaces full, with lots of coach services all around Scotland, including Edinburgh, where this bus is eventually going. So, we pull onto the stands here. FLiXBUS use the, well, as you go in from the entrance, they use the stands which is directly to the left, not near the building. But after I got off, the bus looked lovely there in the sun. So, as we're here now at Perth, I'll round up the video here. The journey itself was good. Was it as good as CityLink? It was pretty much the same. This one offered more features and it had charging ports on board, but as CityLink uses a more variety of coaches, their other buses, more modern vehicles, may in fact use charging ports and have Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So, with that said, FLiXBUS gets a giant thumbs up from me, with the wonderful Mercedes BV71 HYL there basking in the wonderful Perthshire sunshine. With all that covered then, and FLiXBUS getting a thumbs up from me, and meaning I'd travel with them again, which I probably will in the future, we're here at the end of the video, and well, there's only one thing I'd like for you to do, and that is like the video, subscribe, and possibly comment down below what other bus adventures you'd like to see me go on around Scotland next. I've got some ideas, including going up a mountain, and even trying CityLink on this route. So stay tuned, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.